And we are live. Welcome back to On the King's Dime. It's Tuesday night. It's a solo night coming to you live. Andy's wife has had a baby, so he's out for the foreseeable future. Might have to get some injury replacements on the cards, sub some people in, possibly interview a couple of people. But I'm going to be bringing it live. I'm going to be doing a couple of new things tonight. Going to watch those Taips highlights. I didn't get a chance to watch that Taips game. I got home a little bit too late. Just happened to catch like the last few plays and watch us lose. That's always fun. And then I will talk about that Southeast Melbourne game because that was actually a pretty good performance from us and a good win from the Kings. It's been a little bit of an up and down cup. The cup is coming to an end as well. It's just been why wasn't this the season? Really, does it matter? Like, it kind of has played out like this season. It's been just like a season. I'm not sure really if this cup strategy has worked for the league itself. If you look at the way the standings have played out to the points, we won a lot of quarters. So if you look at that, I think we're hovering around pretty high up in the standings. I might bring those up a little bit later, talking through some of those games. But if you look at what this team has kind of done over the last few games, it's been a little bit up and down. We're winning some, we're losing some. I've noticed a lot of the teams kind of really struggling, I think, with the double game weeks. We've seen some up and down performances from some of the teams. The Brisbane Bullets have been a little bit up and down. I think Perth and Melbourne United have kind of been the same. They've got a lot of talent on their rosters. They've got a nice basketballing program structure in place. So they've been pretty steady. But some of these other teams, I think they're struggling with double game weeks. A few injuries. We've seen some guys go down. We've had some guys go down as well, and we're playing through those. But it's good to see our Sydney Kings keeping on keeping up the pressure and everyone kind of pitching in for those wins. So yeah, as always, you can like, share, and subscribe. We are on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We'll put these up on YouTube. So at the moment we're live on Facebook. Well, I'm live on Facebook. Usually put the audio out after this onto Anchor, which goes out onto Spotify and onto Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts. So yeah, go over those if you want to listen to us in audio form. Not sure if I'll put this one, me monologuing, it's a little bit strange. It's the first time I've done this live. Done a few videos. That's always fun, doing redos over and over. But this going out live is certainly a different tack. So I might put it out. I might just edit out the bit where I just kind of sit in silence and watch 4 minutes of highlights. I'm going to put those highlights up on the screen so you can watch those along with me while I'm watching it. 800 views, it probably won't get me kicked off Facebook or get us kicked off Facebook. So hopefully nothing will happen there. But yeah, as always, like and subscribe. And we'll get into the first call of the night, that Taips loss. So I'm just going to bring up the box score. That Taips loss, it was 96-90, I believe. 96-92. So I caught the end of that game. And we've had a few games this season where we kind of just die down the end of these tussles. Like it's a back and forth tussle. There's a lot going on. Then suddenly we just run out of ways to score the ball. And, you put it in Casper's hands and he plays the kind of stereotypical Casper basketball. And we've got some other guys who can kind of close these games. And I found watching this team, whenever we share it around a little bit, go away from that kind of isolation, Casper does it all type offense, that's when we get a few results. We get some purchase with that. But in this Taips game, watching down the end of this game, I think Didi missed a layup that would have put us level or something like that. And then from there, we gave up like a dunk. And then that was pretty much it. But I didn't see a lot of DJ's performance. It was a 32-point night. The other thing I wanted to mention was we're kind of wasting these good games. Like a few of our guys have had great games, like Casper's game against Melbourne. DJ's had a couple of really good games in losses. Kind of wasting these performances by not getting the W, and that's kind of hurting a little bit. DJ 32 points, 13 of 17, 8 of 12 from 2, so he must have scorched it up inside. And then 5 of 5 from 3, so that's good. He's shooting the ball so well. And just quietly, I tweeted out after that Southeast Melbourne game, like, lock him up for the Rookie of the Year. I think that's locked up, sewn up. I don't think, barring touch wood, a sort of catastrophic injury, I think he's got that Rookie of the Year sealed up. And I was sort of texting Andy, and Andy was sort of saying, man, he's a shout for the actual MVP, and that's kind of, that's a little bit like, whoa, calm down. But at the same time, like he's putting up some great numbers and really some important performances that not necessarily an MVP type structure would warrant looking at this kind of season and going, you know what, he's in the conversation. But if he was a third year player, I think he'd get the recognition and some talk about the MVP buzz type of thing. And also, these sort of games without that many fans are helping this. And then this cup run has kind of been a little bit, guys have been good, and then they've not been that great. And then guys have been good in other games and then not that great. So it's a little bit up and down. I'm wondering if, things go a little bit back to COVID normal over the next month and a little bit. Games go away from maybe 2 a week. And some teams were even in the last 2 rounds were playing 3 a week. So I'm wondering if some of these teams go away from that. We get a few more stable performances from these teams that kind of have a more structured lineup and roster and guys who they can move in and out. I think the Hawks really kind of benefited from just being able to play rhythm and flow offense, just play every night, and then kind of running into this double game week in the bubble. They've kind of died, lost a few games here and there. And I think you look at that roster and it's not a great roster. It's not a fantastic roster. It's just a well-coached team of kind of young players who like to play hard. And, without that spectacular coaching, this team probably isn't a great prospect. Justinian Jessup's been really good. But once you start introducing a lot of games, like these young guys, I don't think kind of gel together as a unit, as well as maybe if they were playing, a steady one game a week and then, coming back playing another game on the next weekend. I think that's kind of helping other teams as at the same time, kind of not really helping teams like the Hawks. Just looking through, I've got, I'll bring it up before I bring up the, hopefully everyone can see that at home. I'll bring up the actual stats from all the teams. I'll just make that a bit bigger. All the teams, all the players from all the teams. I sorted it by 3-point percentage just to kind of have a look at how DJ was doing. He's had such a good season, shooting 45% from 3 on 86 attempts. That's pretty good. If you look at Jeps is a little bit better than him. And then sort of lowering the volumes into those, taking 33 points. You look at Wagstaff, he's right up there with 55%. Brad Newley was kind of up there a little bit very early on in the season. He's kind of cooled down a little bit, 40%. He was actually benched in this game. I didn't actually see him come out on the court and play at all because obviously he only played 4 minutes and was benched. I got that box score here. There was some, veteran has to go to the bench, made some defensive, they were saying on the coverage, veterans made some defensive errors, and you take a seat. And I kind of like that in a sense that, no one's immune from having a seat, except maybe Casper, but, Casper's kind of the heart and soul of our offense. But, having those bench guys kind of, know your place. If you make a few mistakes, you kind of get put to the bench. The only thing I kind of didn't, I was thinking about it and going, we've got a pretty shortened lineup, man. And we're playing games thick and fast. Maybe that's not the right way to coach. But if you look at that Southeast Melbourne game, he sort of came out and had a spectacular sort of supplementary night, 5 or 6 from the field, 1 of 1 from 3, of course, again, and then 4 or 5 from inside. His kind of inside game, kind of cooled off a little bit. Hopefully we can spark that up down the end of this season because I think his offense is going to really help. But yeah, looking through DJ, probably one of the best shooters in the league. I was just keen to see what Cotton's shooting a 3 at because he has been a little bit up and down. I wouldn't say, enough to get worried. Look at Casper shooting at 35%. That's not great. Have I scrolled past him? I might do a fine. He is playing still at a high level, but I don't think he's playing at that level he was playing at last year. Almost in the sense that he was carrying the 36ers, carrying the Wildcats in any sort of sense. That this year I think they got a bit more of a all-rounded team. 34.5%. That's quite low. He's coming in at 42.8% from inside. Let's have a look at those numbers from the field. Sorry, that's all field goals. Shout out to Real GM with all those stats. I was putting together a stat pack similar to this, then realized that they're just doing it for me. So that's pretty sweet. Looking at inside numbers for guards, Drimich, that's not bad. 45 of 90. And then DJ, 50% from the field in general. is it MVP numbers? Is it? That's not a bad shout. Look, I think he's got that rookie of the year sewn up to kind of go back to what I was talking about. How about that shot of Humphries? That's a shocker. That is. I think he's got that sewn up pretty much, that rookie of the year. I don't think anyone's going to kind of overtake him on that. I think Jessup's probably one of the closest candidates. Is he going to get that? I don't think so. I think, barring an injury, DJ is going to kill that. Let's actually have a look at the highlights of this game because I actually haven't seen them. We shouldn't get kicked off of Facebook for this. You guys can watch along with me. Hopefully that frame rate's not too bad. It should be pretty good. That's not bad, Casper. I'm going to watch it on my actual window here. I don't think the sound's not coming through, so that should be all right. Oh, what's going on? Buffering. Oh, let me down. DJ in transition finds Caspar, who finds DJ again. That's such a sweet stroke. He's got such a beautiful stroke. And, ultimately I'd like to see players go to the hole in those sorts of transition situations. But if you can develop a little two-man, Jawai. Yeah, I thought so. I was going to say, they just said continuation waved away. I was sort of saying, no, I don't think so. Oh, maybe. Close. I love Nate Jawai. Yeah, both Andy and I love Nate Jawai. Just watching him play, he's just such a beast. And I think in a game against the Kings where we don't have bigs, might be a little bit of a feast. I think he did score the ball quite well. I don't have the stats. I've got it up on this page, so I can't look at it. Oh, did he slip on a decal there? Oh, low rip. Oh, nah. Cam Oliver, in the open court. Cam Oliver's, been a little bit up and down this season as well. We didn't have the array of bigs. We've got kicker back, obviously. That's a nice step back on Moller. He's kind of got to get up a little bit on that. Yeah, we don't have the array of bigs, so obviously the Taipans are going to throw Oliver and Nate Jawai at us. And, ultimately it was a close game, but Nate Jawai, I think, played well. I'll grab those stats after and I'll talk about that. Casper, long three. I'd be interested to see what Casper's numbers are over the last few games. I think he's definitely had an uptick in his percentage. I think he's making more shots from three. Those set ones are looking a little bit better. Like he's always, that's not bad defense, but yeah, no one on the glass. Casper's three has always it's needed a bit of momentum. If you watch back to his Melbourne days, he likes to step into those, run into those threes. I don't understand how he shoots Jerich with the chuck. I don't know how he can shoot the ball in a running situation, but not shoot the ball from a set position. Ooh, beautiful dunk. Oh, very nice. Get some air, a little nosebleed action. I don't know how Casper can't shoot set shots as well as he can shoot those running threes. Oh, Jawai. The other thing too, Hunter, when he's defending his side, he's getting absolutely no love, like at all. Like, what's that? A little grab around come on, like Jawai's got the size on him, he's got the power on him, and then you just go, nah, I'm going to penalize you again just for Jesus. Jerich with just a chuck. That's another thing too. I've been sort of texting Andy about it. Just gets absolutely nothing inside. Ooh, cut from Hunter. Did he? Ooh, very nice. He's not been shooting the three ball that well at all this season, and that's kind of dangerous. Oh, we're up one here with 5 to go. I think actually with about 2 minutes to go was when I started watching it. Ooh, tough layup. And Machado is another one where Casper gets nothing in some of these games. Absolutely zero of those touch fouls inside. Machado's absolutely getting nothing as well. Oh, that's a pretty clutch bucket. 2-point lead. I don't get like the actual, like a real sort of understanding. Oh, Caspar, no, that's no good. I think I saw that run out dunk. 30 seconds to go. I think that kind of killed the game. I might have even turned it off here, actually, because it was around dinner time. I had to eat my dinner. And that looks like it's it. Does DJ come down on the run? Oh, and hits it, of course. He was 5 from 5. Beautiful stuff. So obviously that's going to go, our points. The other thing, too, with these FIBA games, you don't actually, you make sure you shoot those shots at the end of the game because it comes down to point differentials, I'm pretty sure, when it comes to the table. Looking at the stats, let's move this over. I wonder if I'm going to get an actual full width of stats. Nah, you're not going to really be able to see that properly. But yeah, so 5 of 5 from 3. It's a great night from DJ. Casper, 28 points, 9 of 16, 3 of 7 from 3. Diddy, 3 of 8 from the field. Another little sort of struggler. He missed that bunny at the end. A minus 10 too. I've noticed he has these nights where he will struggle on the court, really struggle to knit things together and just cop a pounding on the plus minus. And then in some of these other games, you know, there's games where, you know, he will have a good game and then, you know, it shows out in the plus minus. I'll just bring the stat pack over to here. Whoop, come back. Stat pack over here. Yeah, you look at, I haven't updated it since United, but you look at some of these Diddy games, you know, a minus 13 in there, and then he has a couple of really good games, and what's this, a minus 10 against Cairns. So he gets kind of stuck in these lineups. They're really, we've been saying it all season, there's really lineups of, there's 3 or 4 glue guys out here, and you're just kind of like, well, there's no scoring, there's no defense. Like, what are these guys gluing together? It's just a bunch of glue guys who don't know how to fill the bucket up. You know, everyone's looking around trying to get scoring. It's kind of a struggle. Tommy V, 3 points, and then Kick It, only 2 points. Not sure what to make about Kick It. I think we'll wait to sort of evaluate him at the half season. He hasn't really played that many games. And I think we'll wait till Andy's sort of back on the pod to have a proper discussion about what he's given us. He looks old. Like, he really looks like, ooh, it's the body was gone. Last year, there were signs of it. Signs of, okay, you can still stroke 3. You know, the defense is not there, but probably the year before that, you would have said, oh, the defense is not there. But then, you know, scheming up last year, all you did was just plant him on the charge circle, and then that's kind of all he did, just put the arms up, altered shots like that. And that's, you know, that's kind of about what he's going to give you. Now this season, it kind of looks on offense, he's like got no legs at all. And he came off that injury stretch. He's probably lacking a little bit of match fitness. I'd like to see him you're going to have to get 20 minutes. Like, just give him 20 minutes. You're going to have to play 20 minutes. We're going to have to see how that rhythm kind of affects him. I just copped a blast of something in there on my deck. But we're going to have to give him time if he's going to play any kind of role down the stretch of this season, because these 8-minute stretches, I don't really know what they're doing for his fitness and for his ability to get rhythm as a scorer. I think if he goes on this season, he's going to really put his scoring in jeopardy, because he was a 50, 40, 90 guy. I don't think he's shooting free throws. I don't think he shot many free throws. Let's see if we can bring up the stats for NBL. Remember doing this the other day. The team is Sydney. Does it automatically do it? It does. So shooting the ball, Kick It isn't even there. There you go. Kick It isn't even on these stats. That's okay. Great stats page. So shooting the ball, I think he's kind of struggling a little bit. We saw him. There was a nice fake handoff, I think against Melbourne, where he fake handoff and then, you know, filled it up. That was pretty good. But yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more coming from him. And then, you know, you look at these Kernish Drew, Galloway, Woodhill, these are development players or development type signings, and that's about it. Shawnee Bruce, 3 points. Moller, 5 points. I think Moller, again, is, you know, the all NBL glue guy that has nothing to glue together. I think he's been in a scenario where he's in these second team lineups and there's really not much scoring for him to glue together. He's shown a little bit of post sort of ingenuity, a little bit of adeptness in the post to kind of set guys up, you know, hold the ball, look to play make and not score. But really, shooting a 3 ball is just a no-no at the moment. He's really not shooting the 3 well at all. So it's like, do not shoot 3s. I think he shot one of his first 3s for the season in this game. Let's go back to this stats. Craig Moller, 2 of 10 from 3. So one of 2 came in this game that he's hit this season. So that's another issue there. If he's on the perimeter and he needs to develop some sort of drive game, a little drive and handoff, drive and dish, drive and find someone in the corner. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that develops. I think that'll be a really important thing if he wants to do that. And then Geordie Hunter, 11 points. I don't think that highlights. I think if I had to watch the entire game, might have had some a better idea of what Geordie's doing. Those 4 fouls on again for a second week or even a third week running. It's just he gets nothing inside. It's just like, what, you breathed on him, foul. And he's just like, come on. And he's one of the guys, I've watched a lot more NBL this season. It's been on at really opportune times. I've had a chance to actually watch other games. And I've just noticed that he will sit from 2 fouls in so many games. He's just like, foul, and just really, like, can we just let him stay on the court for a little bit longer? Looking at this, he played 27 minutes, so maybe he stayed out there against two of the bigger, more dominant bigs. So that's a good thing. But I've just noticed he will get 2 just garbage fouls. Like, do we have to call those? Like, I watch other games, I don't see those calls being called in other games. Like, do we have to do this to Geordie? Vodanovic was kind of copping it too a few weeks ago. So 11 points, 5 of 8 from 2. Obviously, he doesn't shoot threes. I think he's only shot 1 3, and it was a end of half chuck or end of quarter chuck. -5. So bit of a painful loss. I think we've had 4 or 5 maybe games where we've just thrown it away. Like, we're in a position to win. We're going to win. This is great. We're looking good, and then we just throw it away. And it's just, we then go, okay, on to the next one, boys. And I think that's kind of one of the main reasons why we're sort of struggling at, what are we at, 5 and 7 now, I think. I think I can get the entire thing going. No, that's just players. What do we got? Standings. It's right there, and it's even enlarged too. What are we? 6 and 7. So, what, we've got a double game week coming up this week. If we can pinch that, we can go back over 500. But the other thing too is, if you look at, Perth's got all those games in hand. 6, I think, games in hand. What are they on? 11 games, and a lot of other teams. And Melbourne has, 4 or 5 games in hand too. If we can kind of stay in the mix of this Illawarra, Brisbane, Adelaide, I think Adelaide's a candidate, kind of drop a few games now that Humphrey's injured. Although they played quite well the other night, you look at them. Brisbane is a team that on any given night, they just win games and you just go, really? Okay, won that game. Illawarra, I like as a team if the games don't come thick and fast. Like, we've seen them stumble a little bit in these thick and fast. Look, 4 and 6 in their last 10. A little bit of a struggling period. And then you look at Southeast Melbourne, New Zealand, and Cairns to be on the bottom. You're just like, whoa, okay. Like, I had them pegged as, finals lock. We'll have to go back and look at the predictions we made at the start for the season. We'll have to go back and dig those out when we do the half season review, because I'm pretty sure I had Cairns as a lock in the top 4, and then Melbourne 10 and 2. Obviously, they went on that 7 or 8 game winning streak. 8 and 2 in their last 10. They've played 12. So moving along, I wonder if I'll bring up the tipping. No, I'll do 3-2-1. I'll do my own 3-2-1 for a game I did not watch. It's a struggle. I'm just going to go box score styles. DJ, obviously. DJ, and then did I just type DJ, obviously, and then where? And then what do we think? Geordie Hunter or Diddy? Nah, Diddy missed that shot, so let's go Geordie. Bit of a compromised vote on that because I didn't watch the entire game, but them's the breaks. You just cop that. Andy's there in spirit. He's in the comments section. Let's like a couple of his posts. MVP, that is correct. He did call for MVP. Give your tips, man. If you're watching at home, give your tips while you're nursing second boy. A chance to get 2 boys in the Boomers team later down the track. And then let's R8. Now let's go to this Southeast Melbourne game. This Southeast Melbourne team, it's not a great team, really. I was watching, I think I made the comment, I confused Yanni Wetzel with somebody else that was playing with Cooks when he was playing with Olivier Versborg. So I said he'd come from Europe, but it's actually a New Zealander come over. And I think he declared in the draft, I think a couple of years, this year maybe, or last year maybe. He had a decent night, like not a a Mooney type night. I guess the benchmark for having a fantastic night against the Kings is kind of that Mooney performance, where there was kind of an out of this world performance where it's like, geez, like nothing we could have done on the night would have made any difference. He was just 30 points shooting at that efficiency. Kind of makes you struggle when there's these other performances from bigs, and it makes you kind of go, not a great performance. Like, when I thought, really he was not too bad, but really in the grand scheme of things, you lost this game, lost it quite handily in the end. handily 6 points. But I still think we kind of had the wood on them for most of the game. But I think, solid night. Mitch Creek, 22 points, 8 of 12, 2 or 4 from 3. I don't know about Mitch Creek, man. I don't know if he's playing at the level he was playing at last year. Like, he started out, he was red hot, absolutely blazing. And then, wow, you played a lot of games, mate. A little bit of a struggling period here. And then he kind of died at the end of last season because he just played so many games. I don't know what the go is. That performance for the Phoenix against us in that game, looking at it, you went, probably their best player on the night. But at the same time, I wasn't ever sitting there going, man, like, we're going to lose to a Mitch Creek performance here. We're going to, this isn't going great. We're going to struggle. And that's kind of how I felt about Mitch Creek this season. It's really been it's all right. It's not great. It's good. It's not great. Kyle Adnam versus Casper Ware was a pretty nice duel. I thought Casper did well to kind of pocket him. We've seen Adnam before. We've had a whole season of Adnam. We've watched him last season have what was, I thought, a pretty good season. But at the same time, we've always sat there and gone, if you body him up, if you can stay in front of him, if you stay with him, make him work for shots, that's when it really reduces his effectiveness. I think he's in a team where they probably need Glidden to be playing at a level that rivals kind of Mitch Creek last year, and Mitch Creek rather, like at a level last year that he was at for Adnam to look, the gravity of these two players, or what did they have, Roberson last year, and they had someone else that I can't remember, but the gravity of two players lets Adnam free. And in this game, basically, we kind of had the mix, had the front court in Hunter and Vodanovic. Vodanovic loves getting under the skin of people. And I think the more he gets under your skin, the more you let him get under your skin, the kind of more effective he is on defense. Like, he can body guys up, really put pressure on scorers. And it kind of helps him, offensively. You're just going to be like, take 3 shots and maybe hit one of them. With how many 1 of 3 performances have we seen this season? But at the same time, defensively, it's important. Like, he's kind of a Hunter type player where, has that kind of chode-like effectiveness, really like clogs up what teams are doing. And when, he's not getting fouls called on him, he's really effective on the defensive end. And that's the other thing about this Phoenix team. They're less of a grinder team where, we're going to have to grind it out against this team. They're more of like the Spurs, San Antonio Spurs, where it's just like, we're not a rough and tumble team. We're not a grindhouse. We play basketball. And I like, Mitchell has that team coached really well. One of the good things about having like limited fans, well, good or bad, you hear the referees, you hear the coaches a lot. And one of the things about that Melbourne game was just, has Vickerman ever like seen a defensive end, like has seen a team come down on the defensive end where they've scored a basket and he's just like, okay, yeah, that was a basket. Every play he whinges, every single travel. No, what was that? 3 seconds the entire time. And I like Mitchell because it was captured in these moments of like the camera's on him. It's in a stoppage, or it's not in the flow of what's happening in a basketball game. And, he's making these gestures. He's a really like a high performance character. And then he's having this verbal exchange where I think the referee made the wrong call. And he said, I made that call. That's what I think the call was. Fair enough. And, we've done a lot of whinging on this. So this might sound a little bit counterintuitive to what our main stance, or what my main stance is. And then this was, I think, with Glidden, and he said, I made that call, and now we can review it and let's check. And then he just went, okay, yeah, fair enough. I made the wrong call. I'm sticking to my guns. Fair enough. Then Mitchell was sort of like having this back and forth about the cotton foul the other night. I don't know if anyone out there's seen that, where he kind of tripped over Glidden. Glidden had his arms up. It's one of those ones that if you're the offensive team, you go, yeah, that's a foul. And if you're the defensive team, you go, no, that's not a foul. And then, both sides are going to be upset if that happens to them. So it's one of those bang, bang plays. And then, he was sort of saying, what about that call the other night? You're calling it differently here. And then the ref sort of goes, it was a foul. And and he was like, yeah, the other one last night wasn't. And I thought that was a really good sort of a sharp type of thing. And it's less about having a moan and hearing these coaches moan on the sidelines and more about, he picked his moment, had a nice little moment there. Because Vic, man, it's just like, I can't watch those games with sound because he just goes on and on and on. And he's just like, bro, has anyone ever scored a legitimate basket against your team? Like, should you be playing games where no one ever scores against you because everything's a travel, everything's 3 seconds, everything's a foul, a hold or anything like that? So that was good to see. Back to our team, the Kings, on the night. Solid all-round performance. Again, we get a W, and it's not, wow, what a night. DJ's 32-point night, MVP special, MVP level talent. We have a night where every single player has a contribution to make. Hunter has 15 points, 6 of 8. And then, DJ again, 7 of 13, really solid night, 4 of 8, 3 of 5 from 3. Casper Ware, 0 of 4, didn't hit a 3. Ooh. Only had 11 points, but 10 rebounds, I think, and 7 assists. So if you look at what he's kind of doing, helping out a little bit more on the defensive end, I think when he, takes a step back and just goes, I'm playing within this game, I think that's when you get an effective player. It's when these games where you're just like, the game's on the line, Casper's going to try and make it happen. It's, he's 0-3 on those moments this season. And you're just like, oh, man, this is painful. But Bruce had 10 points. I think he was playing a little bit better. He let DJ cook a little bit, got the ball inside to Hunter. Moller had 8 points, which helped. And then Brad Newley again, just storming to the basket. Anytime he gets the ball, go to the basket, bro. Like, you have to go to the basket. And then Tommy Vauville, kick it, 3 or 4 from the field too. A little bit of post kick it. We were sort of saying a couple of weeks ago, maybe even last week, Andy was sort of saying, like, no, you're done post kick it. Like, no. But he brought this out, and it was pretty solid. I was like, a couple of inside outside. There was even like a ridiculous 15-step travel that I think was eventually called. How many times this season have we seen him just take so many steps and then lay the ball in, and everyone's going, no, travel. And you're just like, nah, let's kick it, mate. You can take as many steps as you want and never get called for it. So that was a pretty solid outing. And then Galloway had, 6 minutes where some Galloway minutes. I think he had a steal, did he? 1 turnover, 1 block. Actually, yeah, pretty solid block coming over the top. He looks like he might be a pretty solid defensive play. It looks like he has a little bit of growing to do. Might be kind of an undersized threat. But as a development player, he's given us some decent minutes. Shout out to whoever was in the Facebook group, said they didn't want to see him ever again. Thought that was a little bit funny. But his hair game, top notch, on point. I think deserves Rookie of the Year status, Development Player of the Year for that hair alone. And then Diddy, the injury. Was that in this game or was that against the Taipans? I think it was in this Melbourne game. Another little oh no, Diddy's out for a few weeks. Like, no. And then he comes back out and you're just like, oh, all right. And then you fought for a loose ball too, where one of those ones where a player's injured and then they fight for something and then you just watch them fight for it and you're just like, okay, that's going to injure him even more. But he seemed all right. And I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. Just looking through the Kings website, I might bring it up and just have a check. Yeah, shout out that I was looking that up. I'll bring that over here. Bryden's. What's the injury guy's name? The injury people? Come on. It's not there. Whoever it is, the injury people that give you the injury updates, that'll be coming out. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Diddy. For this Phoenix game, it was a good performance. I think a solid all-round performance. The type that if we play against these bottom dwellers, these cellar dweller teams, you kind of go, right, this team is a middle-of-the-road team. If we share it around, if we play solid, defensively we're good. Offensively, we can find stretches where we can score the ball. From memory, we started quite solidly, 19-14. Then the Phoenix came roaring back and we're just like, no. But I never kind of felt uncomfortable. If we can hold these teams to under 20, we might get some rhythm scoring that actually helps us win games. And then we closed it out. That final quarter might come and haunt us. We need those points to win the cup. Yeah. So another solid performance. And then I will give some points, some 3-2-1. Shout out everyone out there, even if you're in the comments or you're watching right now, give a 3-2-1. Give us a 3-2-1. Throw it in on the the posts at any time, getting those 3-2-1s in. We'll read out a mid-season update and let everyone know out there what the mid-season update is on that 3-2-1. All right, 3-2-1 for me, DJ again. And then Newly. Oh, it's so tough because I think we're in another game where nobody else gave us a performance, you would go, look, Casper Ware deserves 1 point for that. Didn't score the ball that well on the night, didn't play that well. But of course, supplemented in other areas and we got the win, 10 boards, 7 assists. 3 steals too, I believe. Let me just scoot that up a little bit. What's that? 3 turnovers, my bad. In a game like that, you're like, that's a 1 point performance. But in this game, like Geordie, I think, was solid enough. Did he have 2 blocks? I think both of those were on Wetzel. So I'll give it to Hunter. And then Andy's going to have to just mail in his tips. Yeah, mail in his 3-2-1s. Get your tips in, Stooge. So yeah, it was a pretty solid game week. Would have liked to get that win against the Taips. Would have put us at 500, sitting, middle of the pack. With the injuries, it's to be expected. It's a tough season with the amount of injuries we've had. Just having to go, injuries, what can you do? Take the emotional investment out of this team and just go, it's hard. Like we've had so many injuries, but at the same time, for what we've had in terms of injuries, we've come back and actually produced something pretty noteworthy for how many injuries and the road games, the amount of road games we played. But at the same time, every time you get into these crunch situations, you just lose and go, it hurts. It shouldn't really hurt because you're just like, man, what this team is doing really is pretty crazy in the grand scheme of things. But at the same time, you just go, damn it. So it's to be expected. Hopefully this game week, we can pull something together. Before I do my own tips, because I'll reel my tips off and we'll somehow get Andy's tips, I will just look at what's happening in round number 9. And then I believe this is the last round of the cup. That's great. Woo! That's the end of the cup. Oh man, this bar, like, just chill out with this bar. Just bring this bar back a little bit. It's too much real estate on your page. So what do we got? The Hawks. Tough game. I think, that's a Hawks team that has been a little bit shaky over the last few weeks. But then again, we've had these teams where guards just go off at the end of games and we can't keep pace scoring. And they have the potential to play solid, really grind us on the defensive end, dry up our scoring, and then bang, 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 hit a few buckets. Jessup and Tyler Harvey. I want to say Sykes, but that's Melbourne, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like that's basically what they did last time. They dried us up, they kept it solid defensively, and then, hit us with a couple of late shots. And in a game where, we probably could have won that game as well. I envisaged the same thing happening. Sydney kind of play hard, play tough, it's solid. And then if we don't pull out the late game scoring, story of the season, that's a team that's going to beat us. And then the Bullets, who are kind of flying high. Looking at that, win-win, loss, win-win. They're a team that, I don't know, like it's any given night, that team can be great and can be disappointing. Sometimes you watch them play and you just go, wow, they've got this tightened up. This is a pretty solid system. Sobey has been playing quite well. If you look at Vic Law was just outstanding. It was a Mooney level game in that first game we played against them. I've watched that back and it was like, anytime he got set, it's just a bucket and you're just like, you can't let him get set at all. Like you have to be on him. And it was a bit worrying that we didn't just go like you, Diddy on Law or somebody on Law. It kind of just let him get like layups, get him in the post, shoot post fades, these jumpers that you're just like, he's set, he's shooting a jumper, that's a bucket. So we've got to make sure we get on that. He had a little bit of an ankle tweak in the last game. I saw him limp out of that game. I think he's one to definitely keep up against. Let's have a look at what the stats are for the Brisbane Bullets. Let's bring it up. All teams, Brisbane. Let's go totals. Because I think Vic Law, has been 18 blocks. Wow, he's a pretty undersized kind of looking player. Sobey, 300 points, 249. What's their shooting percentages? Wow, Vic Law shooting 29% from three. I gotta go back to our game against them and see what he shot against us. Like, I have to go. I'm sure he had an insane night against us. Come on, bring it up. Let's look at this. KD again, 34%, 31% from three. He's kind of struggling. He was someone last year where you just like do not give him space to set his feet, shoot the ball. Hodgson's kind of back. I think he's had a huge impact on that team too. He's more of a 7-foot presence in the Magne style. You know, Magne 6'10", 6'11", but Hodgson is one of the legit 7-foot bigs in this league, and while not being, wow, amazing hands, like fantastic. Why are you not letting me search for that? Killing me. But he has not got amazing hands, not in the sense that you go, wow, toss it to him and he's going to get you a bucket every time. But at the same time, any lobs, any cleanup around the rim, and he's all over it, dunking all over people. Yeah, this was that game. Just like destroying people as a 7-footer should. One of the genuine 7-footers. And then again, any game you're going 7-footer, 2 of 2 from three. Yeah, there you go. 11 of 15. Did we play them? I'm sure he had another game that was pretty insane against us. I wonder if we played them twice. But yeah, Brisbane, it's kind of any given night. And, adding in Hodgson, it's again on paper, you look at it and just go, wow, we're gonna have to really find an answer for a 7-foot big again. In some games, like you're kind of rolling the dice and going, we don't have it tonight. We struggled. In some games, you go, wow, the boys put in a really good performance. Hunter Vodanovic and Kickett really did well. But, if they continue to play like they're playing, I think they're going to roast that 3-man combo that we have. And that will round out the cup. That's it for the cup. Should we get up a standings for the cup? Cup ladder. Woo! Really tickets from $10. I'm not going to Melbourne. So 6 games, 3 wins, 3 losses, 14 quarters won. I think at one point we had the most quarters won. If we had have won that last quarter against Southeast Melbourne, that would have been most quarters won. Woo, most quarters won. But struggled. So, can we win it if we win 2 games from here and Perth lose 2 games? I think Perth or Brisbane are kind of nailed on to win this. And let's just quickly look at who Perth and Brisbane are playing. They're playing us and Adelaide, so we have a chance to kind of stifle a Bullets Cup win. But then again, Perth are playing the Breakers and the 36ers. You could probably pencil those in for 2 wins. And, good on Perth for presumptively winning the cup. Yay, cup. All right, so I'm going to go tips. New Zealand Breakers versus the Taipans. Tough one. Bottom of the table clash. Wow. And this is tough too because I had a little under the radar strategy of Andy picks first, and if I don't need points, I can just match him up and stay on the same points totals as him. Now I'm going in blind. He's probably listening to this at home, just going, damn you. So Taipans Breakers. Wow. Taipans. I'm gonna just go Taipans because they can't stay terrible for this long. Surely they're beating us. They're on a run. Oliver versus Colton Iverson. Ooh, tough matchup. The Webster's taking 1,000,000 shots. Tough matchup. Oof. Southeast Melbourne versus United. Melbourne Derby styles. Surely you got to go United. The gut says United. Bullets 36ers. Let's go Bullets. They're the ones in form. Kings versus Hawks. My bane. Pencil me in for the Kings every time. Perth versus the Breakers. Look, let's just go Perth. And Perth. Pencil those in. Taipans versus Southeast Melbourne. Tough one. Ooh. you'd have to probably say Southeast Melbourne. But then again, Taipans, I'm predicting to get a win. I'm going to go double Taipans. Andy was definitely off the Taipans train last week. I was kind of off the Taipans train a couple of weeks ago. I think I'm going to just sneak back on it, run after it. Probably just going to leave me behind, leave me in the dirt. Illawarra versus United. Tough game. Let's go United. Breakers versus the Phoenix. Another cellar dweller. Oh, Breakers. Phoenix have got a better team. All right, I'm going Phoenix. And then, that rounds out the week. I think that's about it. I think that's probably where we can leave it. What have we been doing? It's pretty solid. I've done solo for the first time. Might have to make this a bit of a regular. I think we can wrap it up there. I don't think there's anything else. We can really go on with. So as always, thank you for watching me. Probably be back next week. Solo again. We'll see how this goes. See how the people think this. If you're out there, send us a message if you want to get in. I'll chat to anyone. If you're royalty, if you're a peasant, that's what we're here for. We're fans. We're peasants of the club. We can say whatever we like. It's great. As always, you can like us on Facebook. We are putting these up on YouTube as well. You can watch them in replay on YouTube. If you want to listen to audio form, will this work for audio form? Sure, why not? I'll just put it out anyway. You can listen to me just talk, blabber on for an hour. We're on Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Spotify as well. We're on the Anchor podcast platform, so that will spread us out to those 3 platforms. We're on Twitter also. I've been doing a little bit more tweeting. It's mainly salt, so, it's pretty terrible. But give us a like on there if you want to hear us tweet and yell about the refs and say stuff like that. And as always, we will see you guys next time on the King's Dime.